Yo, yo, it's JSF. How y'all doing? And today I want to talk about community. Basically the NRS community, or I could just say the MK community, right? If you've been paying attention to what's going on, I'm sure you found out or you've seen that recently. There was an announcement of a tournament, a Mortal Kombat tournament through Twitch, a Twitch rival tournament, but it's not a tournament for MK11. It's a tournament for MKX, and it's interesting considering, like, Mortal Kombat 11 just got a little bit of a balance patch, and it wasn't a huge patch. It didn't really, go above and beyond, but it did some things that people had been asking for, some things that people had wanted, right? The most obnoxious and broken move in the game finally got nerfed to the point where it's basically unusable in competitive play. I think that's something that we're all happy with and we all wanted, right? One of the worst characters in the game, Shao Kahn, actually got some buffs, and the buffs are decent. There's something. They don't fix the character by any means, but he got some buffs, right? That's something else we can all agree on. Some of the characters people say are top tier and overpowered, like Setron and Joker, got a slap on the wrist, 950 health gang. So a patch just happened, like literally just happened. And we're already moving on and moving back to MKX. So I want to kind of explore why the community went back to MKX. What's going on here? Like, there's a lot to it, and I know the simple answer that some of you are gonna think, oh, well, MK11 is trash. Duh, that's why they went back to MKX. Well, MK11 has been trash for a long time. And it usually doesn't cycle this way, right? Usually if people, get sick of this game, they would go back to the last game, which would be Injustice 2. When people were sick of Injustice 2, they went to MKX. When they were sick of MKX, they went to Injustice 1, or sometimes MK9. Because it is the MK community, some people just play Mortal Kombat, but I think it's a little bit more interesting than that. But yeah, one of the probably the most obvious factor would be that this game is still dying. It's pretty clear that there's no more major balance changes, meta shift, like level patches gonna happen for this game. The game kind of is what it is at this point. MK11 kind of just is what it is. You either like it in its current state or you don't, and the developers have kind of doubled and tripled down to show that, hey, we don't want to fundamentally change how this game is played. We like it. We think this game is cool. And the community disagrees, and whether people disagree publicly or privately, it's why you don't see as many prominent players playing in as many tournaments, right? When We Play was around and they threw their tournament, that was different. That was a big, major invitational with a lot of money on the line, a lot of stakes on the line, a lot of eyes on the prize, you know what I mean? Really big tournament, but you don't really see as many like pro players or well-known players playing in just regular, tournaments that are run by certain people in the community, or the tournaments that they used to run that were actually really well done. It's just there's a lot less interest in the game, right? Another thing is there's no announcement of a new game, right? No announcement of a new game, whether it be Mortal Kombat 12, whether it be Injustice 3, whether it be a new IP. There's no announcement of nothing new. Being that there's no announcement, that means if there is a game coming out, it's at the very least 6 or 7 months away. I still believe we'll get an announcement in June at E3 like we usually do, or we used to usually do. But either way, that would mean at best we're probably getting the game in December, right? Maybe even next April, right? So we're still very far away from the release of a new game, and we have no communication from the developer about what's coming, about what's a time frame, when should we expect something. No teases really, some very subtle teases, but nothing that's a tease to really get the community hype about it. So it's like, well, if we got nothing to look forward to in the future, hey, maybe the past has something for us, right? Even with currently in the situation, even though MK11, to the people who've been playing it for 2 years or for however long it's been out, 2 years and some change, the game isn't the greatest, but people still love Mortal Kombat. Hell, the Mortal Kombat movie just came out, and that movie actually did all right. Now, say what you will about the movie, whether you loved it or hated it, but there's no way you can say that there's no hype for Mortal Kombat right now. There's no, positive energy for Mortal Kombat. There are a lot of people who love Mortal Kombat. There are a lot of people who still want more characters for this game, but clearly we're not going to get that, right? That's just another part of it. And the community kind of feels it. The community is kind of like, well, we want something new. If we can't get something new, we want something refreshing. We want something that feels better than this. We love Mortal Kombat, but we don't love this game. We want to play Mortal Kombat, but we don't want to play this game. That's kind of how it goes, right? And then when you mix that in with the fact that a lot of people in the community, and shout out to anybody in the community who's made their own tournaments, run their own tournaments, done their own thing. Because I had an idea to run my own tournament at one point, but my tournament was going to be restricted. It was going to be character ban, move ban. It was going to be different. And I don't think people would have liked it, but I think it would have been interesting because the gimmicks would have been, for the most part, out the door. But my point is, community ran tournaments are like becoming a big thing. More and more people are starting to do like their own tournaments, whether they're invitationals, whether they're 2v2 tournaments, whether they're just like whatever, or just running sets, right? Running like beef sets, running whatever they want to run. A lot of stuff like that, because that type of stuff is usually pretty hype, usually pretty interesting, and there's been a lot more of that going on. So I think when you look at everything that's, you know, everything considered with the situation for what it is, right? You know, Mortal Kombat 11 is kind of dry right now. We don't think we're getting any real big updates, right? The last 2 patches we got have been tiny. The last one we didn't even need to download. So I mean, can we even call it a patch, right? You know, but we want to play MK. There's hype for it. There's a lot of people, a lot of players, and this is like the perfect cocktail to get you right back to MKX. And it's not to say MKX is perfect. MKX is an amazing game because MKX is Kusoge too. Don't get it twisted. But at the very least, even though MKX is a wild game, it's got a lot of wild things, a lot of wild 50-50s, at least it's entertaining to watch. It's interesting. It's fun to play. You do have options in that game, and that's the thing, right? You do have options, even though it's run up 50, like you do have a breaker and it works like a regular breaker, works perfectly fine. You do have armor if you have meter, you know, you got your wake ups, you got your armored wake ups, like you have options, and they vary with the characters, right? But even though the game is very, very oppressive offensively, even if you're, you know, defending in that game, you feel like you can do something. You feel like you can play the game. You feel like you have different tools. In this game, it kind of discourages, like, it just kind of makes you sometimes feel like you can't really do anything. It's like, damn, I want to play Mortal Kombat, but I want to play Mortal Kombat where I can do shit. And not just defensively, offensively. I want to have more combo routes. I want to be able to express myself with the way I want to play. I want to be able to do cool shit. I want to play Duelist Liu Kang and put these 2 fireballs on the screen, cancel back and forth. You know what I mean? All the cool, different little shit. I want to do fireball cancels with Scorpion. There's so much more things you can do in MKX than you can do with this game. And I understand why this game limited the gameplay a lot, but it really suffered for it. I think you could have done it in a similar style to this, but not like basically gotten rid of combos other than just, you know, basic 2-hit launcher ender, like the combos over type of vibe. But yeah, that's just my assessment of the situations. Situation, I should say. But yeah, this is kind of what happens when you have a franchise. The current game is ass, but people still love the franchise. People still want to play the game, and the developer isn't really giving any support, but the community rises up and does their own thing and runs their own shit. You end up with all these tournaments, and then you end up with Twitch rivals. Then you end up with Maximilian saying, yo, I've teamed up with Twitch rivals and done a few tournaments. What if we do another one for another game I like? And I don't believe Max loves MK11 because he doesn't seem to play it too much, but damn if he doesn't love MKX, right? And damn if the players don't love MKX or just love Mortal Kombat in general. So yeah, that is how you end up back at a 6-year-old game. And a funny thing here is MKX is actually the most successful game to date for NetherRealm Studios. It's not Injustice 2, it's not MK11. MKX is the most successful. Like, it's still to this day NRS is most successful. I know they try to say, oh, MK11 sold 8 million copies. I believe MKX sold over 10. So it's really popular. And if not just for the competitive crowd, the casual crowd too. Super popular game. So hey man, hopefully the tournament goes well. That is why you may see more people on Twitch. You might see more clips on YouTube, on Twitter, or whatever on YouTube of MKX, because people are kind of fed up with this game. Hopefully NetherRealm gets the memo. Hopefully they understand that, like, this game is like, you know, it happened, it's whatever, we're ready to move on to something else, and they get to announcing what's next. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. If y'all enjoyed the content, please subscribe. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I appreciate all y'all. Stay safe. JSF, I'm out. Peace.